everybody. Happy Sunday if you're watching this live. We are going to be watching day 2 of the Nicholas Kassotis trial. He is accused of murdering his wife and dismemberment, which is always so awful to listen to, but they're not showing pictures. I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's going to be kind of a long one. And as always, let me know if you need the sound up or down, or if just something's not right, let me know. Okay, here we go. And if you see me looking down or over to the side, I am using the time to do other work that I need to do. One second. One second. I want to make sure their audio is acting weird with this. I don't know if that was me or them. So I was just doing my due diligence, I guess, trying to make sure everything's correct before we start. All right, now it looks okay.
Hope you had a good evening. I know I got stuck in that traffic coming in today. I know some of you did. I'm hoping it was just the first day of school. It'll get a little better, but I'll leave a little earlier tomorrow. I come from the coast, so I came through the high school and then the Joseph Martin school. So hopefully it'll get a little better over the next few days. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started this morning, and I believe Mr. Weinstein, it's your opportunity to cross-examine.
Your Honor, did the court wish to do the admonition concerning the media? I know you had indicated.
Yeah, again, I trust that all of you were able to abide by the court's instructions about no access to the media. I assume everyone good with that?
Yes.
All right, very good. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may proceed, Mr. Weinstein.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Special Agent Dickerson.
Good morning.
Just to formally introduce myself, I'm Doug Weinstein, and I am representing Mr. Kassotis in this case. I just want to make sure I understand your experience. You have been a crime scene specialist for about 4 years, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's with the GBI. I understand you have experience before that as well, right?
That's correct.
And did you say yesterday, and I understand you're not a statistician, I think that's the words you used, but you see about 20, or you analyze about 25 to 50 scenes per year?
25 to 30.
25 to 30.
Yes, sir.
So over 4 years, 100, 120, roughly. I won't hold you to that number, but 100, 120 is about right?
Sure.
Quite a few.
Yes, sir, right around there.
Okay. Let's go back to December the 2nd.
Yes, sir.
You go to, I guess, the scene at Jones Road and what we're calling Hunt Club Road, that intersection where the gate is, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you get there at about 9:15 at night, roughly.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You said that there was lots of trash on the side of the road, correct?
Yes, sir.
You said there were beer cans, right?
Yes, sir.
You said there were Coke bottles. When you say by the side of the road, was that on Jones Road or was that on the Hunt Club Road?
Jones Road is a public road, so there's far more litter on the side of Jones Road than there was on the Hunting Club Road, but there was some on the Hunting Club Road as well.
And again, you saw beer cans and Coke bottles. What other trash did you see there?
Just your generic roadside litter that you would see anywhere. And I say Coke bottles generically, soda bottles. But I remember seeing a box that contained an alcoholic beverage, like a cardboard box. I think there was even a couple of TVs that had been discarded in the woods there at the intersection. So There's a significant amount of trash in the area.
And as an old trademark lawyer, I appreciate you clarifying that when you said Coke bottle, you really meant that generically and not the Coca-Cola company.
Yes, sir.
So, now, you did not elect to take any of those beer cans or soda cans, soda bottles, beer bottles into evidence, correct?
That's correct.
Now, isn't it true that beer cans, Coke bottles, that type of material, you could get latent prints off of those at times, correct?
That's a possibility, yes.
And out of that 100, 120 scenes that you have collected evidence from before, have you ever picked up cans, bottles, other things like that?
Yes, sir. I've picked up items that were later processed for latent fingerprints. Yes, sir.
Okay. But in this case, you elected not to pick those up, correct?
That's correct.
You did also, there was a cigarette pack that was photographed, I believe a Marlboro pack, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you took that Marlboro pack into evidence, right?
I did.
Are you the person, once you collect this into evidence, it then goes to a crime lab?
That's correct.
And what crime lab does that go to?
So when I say crime lab, the GBI operates a statewide crime lab, and we have several locations. The location that serves our area is located in Pooler.
When it
Coastal Crime Lab.
I'm sorry. Are you through?
I am.
Okay. When it goes to the crime lab, are you the one that decides on what tests are performed by the crime lab?
To some extent, we can submit evidence to the lab and request that certain processes be conducted on evidence. We cannot require them to be processed. The lab does have to make decisions based on the resources that they have available to them.
I believe you testified that the case agent in this case is, I don't know what the right verb is, Tracy Sands, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's
Agent
correct.
Sands. Do you see Agent Sands in the courtroom now?
I do.
Where's Agent Sands?
He's sitting at the prosecution table.
Okay. So does Agent Sands also, is he someone that could also request that certain evidence be analyzed at the crime lab?
That's correct. We can request.
So either you might request, Agent Sands might request, might request, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Did you request any analysis on that Marlboro cigarette pack?
So the evidence submission forms were made and the cigarette pack was submitted to the crime lab, but it would be a better question for Agent Sands than it would be for myself.
Okay. Well, you specifically did not request any particular analysis on the Marlboro cigarette pack, correct?
That's correct.
We mentioned the bottles and the cans and that you could get latent prints off of those, or you have at times, correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you also get DNA evidence off like a Coca-Cola can?
Certainly, it's a possibility.
But in this case, you collected none of those, correct?
That's correct.
And let's move to 311 East 65th Street in Savannah. So we'll talk about that for a bit. You called that a crime scene in your testimony. Why did you call that a crime scene?
It's sort of a shorthand for saying that it's a place that we searched for or examined for signs of criminal activity.
When you call it a crime scene, are you presuming that a crime occurred there?
So the presumption holds yes. We do need to, we're not going to go to a place that's just random and say, well, we don't think a crime happened here, but we're going to search anyway. I mean, we're going to go there based on fact and driven by how the investigation leads us, and then conduct an examination of a place, be it a vehicle or apartment, a house, wherever, based on the fact that there may be something there.
Okay. And that property had a house upon it that we heard a lot of testimony about yesterday, correct?
Yes, sir.
And there was also a shed in the back of the house, right?
There was.
Did you look in that shed?
I did.
About how big was that shed?
10 by 10, 12 by 12, not very big, but
And what was located inside the shed?
if I remember correctly, it was just packed full of tools and things you might find in a garden shed. There were some old paint cans, things stored. I don't recall exactly without referring to a photograph that I took of the interior, but it was not particularly well kept. It was a little haphazard the way things were stored inside.
Well, lots of folks keep their sheds in the back like that, I think, correct?
Me as well.
Did you do any luminol testing within that shed?
Not within the shed. I did, however, take a few items out of the shed and bring them into the house for testing.
What items did you take from the shed to bring into the house for testing?
There were some power tools.
And what was the result of your luminol testing on those power tools?
There was no result shown from the Blue Star application.
And when you say Blue Star, that's the Blue Star luminol that was discussed yesterday, right?
Correct. That's the chemical that causes the blue glow when it comes into contact with blood.
You also, and correct me if I'm wrong, always correct me if I misstate anything that you said, because
Yes, sir.
I don't want to mischaracterize or get anything wrong about your testimony, okay? So please just stop me. Will you do that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I think you will anyway. I just want to make sure I hear it from you. Did you testify yesterday that you do not believe, and I'm sorry, I have to be indelicate because of the nature of this case, you believe Mrs. Kassotis was not dismembered in that house?
I believe that there's not enough physical evidence available to make that determination decisively.
One way or the other?
Correct.
If she was dismembered in that house, what type of evidence would you have expected to find that might confirm that she was dismembered there or lead you to believe with greater certainty that she may have been dismembered there?
Without sounding too jocular, hopefully a video of the inside of the house showing it, but that would be great evidence. There wasn't any video, obviously, of the interior of the house showing a crime having occurred, but if I were to remember yesterday when I taught, a lot of the questions that are posed to us, asked about crime scene, starts off with, well, it depends. In this particular case, it depends on, you would expect to see a lot of blood, but it will also depend on the preparations that were made prior to, and again, this is a terrible thing to talk about, but prior to her being dismembered, if there were any protective measures made. I put on a Tyvek suit before I got into a ditch full of mud and water and other biological hazards. If somebody were to lay down, say, a tarp or something like that, then that might protect items of furniture, the walls or floor from blood. So it just depends.
You found relatively little blood there, correct?
Correct.
As a matter of fact, the blood that was on the floor, I think you said that you had to do a full 1 minute exposure in order to render an image of the luminol glow from the floor, correct?
That's correct.
What's your typical exposure when you take a photograph of luminol?
Typically, again, it depends. If the reaction is very bright and the picture is being taken from very close away from the subject, it's like a close-up photograph as opposed to an overall photograph of the room where I might have to use a smaller aperture that lets less light into the camera per second that the shutter's open, then I may be able to use a 15 or 20 second exposure. If it's an overall photograph of a room and I'm using a smaller aperture in order to get the entire room in focus, then I may need to use a longer shutter speed to compensate for that darkness.
Well, let's compare it to the luminol glow that came from the futon that was found in the residence.
Correct.
How long was the shutter exposure when you photographed that luminol on the futon?
I honestly wouldn't recall.
Would that be in your notes?
So it wouldn't be in our notes. However, the digital cameras that we use contain a small piece of information called an EXIF file, or exchangeable image file. And you can think of that file like a tag on a Christmas gift, if you would. It's got a little bit of information about the photograph in it. It's limited to about 64 kilobytes of data. And what that contains is information about the date and time that was set on the camera when the photograph was made, It can tell you information about the make and the model of the camera that took the photograph, and it'll also tell you things like shutter speed, aperture, the ISO setting, or how sensitive the digital sensor was at the time that the photograph was taken. And for newer cameras and for your cell phones, it'll also contain geographic information like your GPS coordinates. So I could refer to that file, but we'd have to take a break and I'd have to load the file and look at it in a computer.
Okay. That EXIF file, that's essentially metadata, correct,
Correct.
about the photograph?
Yes, sir.
So you don't recall exactly how long. Was it less than 60 seconds?
I'm assuming so, yes, but again, I couldn't speak with any certainty, but it wasn't as long an exposure, I believe, as the overall of the entire room.
And as far as, I guess, what you've been referring to as the arc on the wall, the arc of blood that was about a foot long or so,
Yes, sir.
that was so minimal that you couldn't even photograph it, correct?
That's correct.
You made an initial application. I believe you said you had to get, did you say you had to get really close to even see that there was a glow?
Correct. It was very, very difficult to see.
And that futon, the location of the blood on the futon, you testified yesterday that, well, I guess you went to the house in May of 23, correct?
That's correct.
And Mrs. Kassotis' murder was back in that November, December 22 time frame, correct? It was 6 months prior. Mrs. Kassotis was murdered about 6 months prior to
Yeah,
that.
her body was recovered on December 2nd, yes, sir.
Okay. So it had been 6 months, and you said that futon, you don't know what position that futon was in 6 months prior to you being at the house.
No, sir, it's movable within the scene, so I have no idea.
So the futon could have been flipped around, correct?
Correct.
And while when you saw the futon, I guess the blood was on the, would be, I guess, behind where, on the backside of where your head would rest if it was a couch, correct?
Correct.
But it could have been flipped around.
Yes, sir.
And that blood could have been in the seating area of the futon if it was flipped around in that way.
Yes, sir. It'd be more on, like on the edge. Like if the futon was a mattress, so to speak, that was just foldable, then instead of it being on the top or the bottom, it would be kind of on the side.
So if you were sitting on the edge of the futon, then that blood could be beneath where you're sitting, correct?
Possibly.
When you do the luminol testing, that is just showing the presence of blood, correct?
Yes, sir.
Could be human blood, could be animal blood, right? You don't know what type of blood.
Yes, sir.
Does the luminol tell you whether it would be venous blood or menstrual blood? Does it tell the type of blood at all?
No, sir. Again, this chemical reacts with the hemoglobin, the iron in the blood, so it doesn't differentiate between where the blood came from within the body. It's just blood.
So because you just know it's some kind of blood, I think you testified that then you do an OBTI test, correct?
Yes, sir.
And just maybe to refresh everyone's memory, that OBTI test is the one that looked like those kind of COVID tests that we all had to suffer through a few years ago, right?
Yes, sir. Very similar.
Very small. The OBTI test, that tells you whether or not it's human blood, correct?
They can give you an indication thereof, yes, sir.
Does it indicate whether it's menstrual blood or not?
No, sir.
Can we pull out, let me see, which specific exhibit? Give me just one moment, please. You still have all your exhibits from yesterday up there behind you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Could you pull out exhibit 1.8, which is the package that contains the wipe that you found wrapped around the handle of the knife? Could you open that up, please? Would you remove the wipe once you have that open? Okay. Is it possible to open that up anymore without damaging it? May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm not going to touch it.
There are gloves if you'd like,
Yeah, I'm
counsel.
good. All right, so there's actually two wipes there, is that correct? They're perforated, there's a perforation keeping them together?
That's correct.
Okay. You may put that away now. Thank you very much. So you collected all of these wipes as evidence and you submitted them to the lab, correct?
That's correct.
You testified yesterday that in some cases these cleaning wipes can destroy DNA, correct?
That's my understanding in conversations that I've had with the folks at the lab in the biology section, is that is a possibility that the DNA can be damaged by certain brands of cleaning wipes depending on the chemicals that are involved in the process.
But then there are also other brands of cleaning wipes where DNA would not be destroyed, correct?
That's possible, but I couldn't speak to it with any certainty.
Did you ask that these wipes be checked for DNA?
Again, with Agent Sands having submitted the evidence himself for testing, then those requests would have been made through him.
So if you could just answer that one question, did you request that these wipes be tested for DNA?
I did not.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you very much, Special Agent.
Briefly, Judge. Agent Dickerson, you were asked by counsel whether you saw certain drinking containers on the roadway, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall that series of questions?
Yes, ma'am.
How far were they from the body?
So, as we spoke several times yesterday, the body was about 650 feet away from the intersection, down the Hunting Club Road, and then Jones Road itself, there was an orange gate pretty much at the intersection. The majority of the trash that I observed on scene was pretty much as you would expect to see. It was in the ditch and along the edge of the road on the public road.
That's on Jones Road?
Correct.
Okay. And if that trash, including those drinking cans, had been found in proximity to the torso, would you have taken them?
Of course.
Did you, with respect to the Marlboro pack that you referred to?
I did. It wasn't exactly found near the body. It was about halfway back toward the intersection from the body. So there wasn't necessarily a direct connection between the two, but we took it out of an abundance of caution.
Okay. And I believe you testified yesterday about the conditions of the weather in the days leading up to December 2nd of 2022. Can you refresh us as to what it was in those days?
Yes, ma'am. We spoke with, as part of our initial briefing when we arrived on scene, we spoke with...
Objection to hearsay.
He's just saying who he spoke with. He didn't say what they said.
As long as he doesn't say what they said.
All right.
Did you speak
Understood.
with anybody about the weather conditions?
I did.
Were you yourself in Liberty County on those days beforehand?
I was not.
Did you see if there was any rain in the ditch anywhere near these areas?
Yes.
How much rain? Meaning, on your body, how deep was the water?
Well, there was standing water in the ditches, and the ground was very saturated when we got there, even though it wasn't actively raining at the time.
Okay, and just so we're clear, we're in South Georgia, so sometimes we have standing water all the time, right?
Yes, I can also say that as part of the forensic entomology that was done, there was some weather conditions that had to be researched, and I was able to access weather data from a nearby weather station. And while I don't remember the exact numbers, I can tell you it recorded precipitation in the area in the days leading up to the discovery of Mindy's torso.
Do you know if anybody else actually recorded, or without telling us what was recorded, whether that actual data was secured in connection with this case?
Will you repeat that question for me?
What I'm asking is, do you know if anybody else secured the precipitation data in the days leading up to December 2nd of 2022 without telling us what it was?
So again, in working with Dr. Edward Mondor at Georgia Southern, the forensic entomologist, part of his studies are to include weather data in his interpretation. So yes, I know that he accessed data.
So he knows how much rain there actually was.
I can't say what he knows, but that's a possibility.
Okay. And with respect to rain, and again, if I am going too far afield of your forensic expertise, please let us know. Counsel asked you whether or not the cleaning wipes, the chemicals in them, can destroy or damage DNA. Do you know what water can do to fingerprints or DNA if it comes into contact with it?
And there's a possibility that it can remove both from the surface of a piece of evidence or a piece of potential evidence.
What about wiping with a cleansing wipe? What could that do to fingerprints or DNA, if you know?
Well, again, there's a lot of unknown variables to the question that you're asking, but even something as simple as a dry paper towel rubbed across latent fingerprints, which are primarily made up of oil and water, will cause some mechanical destruction of those prints. They wouldn't be there anymore on a hard surface. Now, on a porous surface, that may be a little different, but on a plastic or a metal surface that's smooth, then yeah, certainly rubbing something across it could destroy those fingerprints.
Okay. And do you know if light has any impact? Only if you know.
On latent prints or DNA?
On either or.
So sunlight is got a large component. A large component of sunlight is ultraviolet light, and ultraviolet light is not good for DNA at all. In fact, you may see ultraviolet lights being used to sanitize certain things, and that's given enough exposure. My training indicates that DNA can be damaged by sunlight.
So at a minimum, you're aware that as of December 2nd of 2022, that's when a portion of her remains were recovered, correct?
I'm sorry.
A portion of her remains were first recovered on December 2nd of 2022.
Correct. That's when Minnie's torso was found.
Okay. And the rest of her body was recovered over how many days?
The right leg was recovered on the 3rd. Her left leg was recovered on the 5th. And her head was the last item to be recovered, and it was recovered on the 7th.
And do you know where that head physically was? Meaning, was it on the ground or in the ground?
I wasn't there. I'm aware of it through the circumstances of the investigation, but my understanding is buried.
Okay. Could being buried impact the ability to recover any additional DNA potentially?
It'd probably be a better question for someone from the biology section.
From the biology
of the lab
section.
Than myself.
Okay. Now, cleansing wipes. Counsel asked you about those cleansing wipes, and you, I believe, pulled out the one that was in 1.8. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
As we sit here, did you see stains on that actual set of wipes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But you don't know what those stains are, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Would you have been able to field test those stains out at the scene?
I could have.
Okay. Why didn't you?
Because those items are small enough and portable enough that we could take them to the lab and have them tested there without any trouble.
Okay. And would that have been something potentially they might have done?
It could be.
Okay. And DNA generally, that gets handled by whom in the Georgia Bureau of Investigation forensic teams?
So DNA processing is conducted by the biology section of our lab.
Do you do that?
I do not. The crime lab is actually a different division. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is made up of 3 divisions, and the lab in the medical examiner's office is one of those. I'm in the investigative division, so while we're the same parent agency, we operate independently of one another.
Now, I just want to talk for a moment about the items in the shed. Do you have any idea who those items belong to?
I do not. I'm assuming the homeowner.
Do you
But
have
that's
any
an assumption.
Okay. Do you have any idea if they were there when Mr. Kassotis and Mindy Mebane lived there?
I have no way of determining that.
Do you have any idea? Well, let me back that up. Did you see any blood on any of those items?
Not the ones that I processed, ma'am.
And which items you processed, you said were the power tools, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember what type of tools you processed?
Again, I'd have to look at the photographs, but there was a circular saw and I want to say maybe a drill and something else. I'd have to look back to make sure they.
Okay. Do you have that in your notes? Or would that be in a photograph?
It would probably be in a photograph.
Okay. And can you tell us what a circular saw is? Not everybody uses those.
Certainly, a lot of folks down in the South call it a skill saw, which is kind of like calling a soda can a Coke bottle, but it's basically a saw that you would use to cut wood, lumber. It's handheld, about that big. There's a blade on the side that loads in, spins, and you can push it through wood to cut it.
But you didn't see any blood on it?
No, ma'am.
But
I
you
didn't see
tried?
any blood on any of the tools that I checked.
Did you try to find any of the tools that could have potentially been used as cutting tools?
Yes, ma'am.
And were those all of the ones that you looked at for blood?
Only the ones that could have even potentially been used are the ones that I checked for blood. And again, out of an abundance of caution, I didn't see any, but since I already had the chemical mixed and it was there and I had enough left to test, I went ahead and pulled the tools inside and tested them
So you
before we left.
You blue starred those in the blacked out house as well?
Yes, ma'am.
But as you sit here, you have no idea if Mr. Kassotis even had access to those tools back in December or in the time frame around her body being recovered.
I have no way of knowing.
You mentioned yesterday that it was an Airbnb. Is that correct?
Our investigation indicated that.
And do you know if it was active? Only if you know if it was actively being used still as an Airbnb?
That was my understanding, is that it was still for rent.
Okay. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything else?
Briefly, Your Honor. The state mentioned that, or asked you about the location of most of the trash that you saw, cans, bottles, and it was along Jones Road.
Yes,
And
sir.
that was approximately 650 feet away, correct?
Yes, sir.
Looking at Exhibit 1.4 that was introduced yesterday, you recall this?
Yes, sir.
In Exhibit 1.4, evidence placards 1 through 3 and 4 through 7, those ones down by the gate, that's approximately 650 feet away as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
So even though those were also 650 feet away, you felt that that was evidence that should be collected.
I did.
And that evidence included the Husky storage container. You took that, correct?
Yes, sir.
You took the Milwaukee knife that was 650 feet away from her torso.
I did.
You took cleaning wipes that were 650 feet away from her torso.
Yes, sir.
You took torn, cut gray cloth that was 650 feet away from her torso.
I did.
And you took literally a black plastic trash bag that was 650 feet away from her torso.
Yes,
Correct?
Sir. Yes, sir. I did.
And you, and when I say you in this case, I'm meaning the team that was there. So y'all picked up an empty cigarette pack that, at least on Exhibit 1.4, looks to be several hundred feet away from her torso, correct?
That's fair.
Was there no trash in Exhibit 1.4 between the gate and the location of her torso?
There may have been small pieces of trash that I just overlooked. That's a possibility.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, can the witness be excused?
State has no additional questions.
No question.
All right. Thank you, sir. You're excused.
Thank you.
All right, our next witness, please.
Your Honor, at this time, the state calls Lindsay Smith.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
May I?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to ask if you could just keep the microphone nice and close to your mouth so that the jurors can hear you.
Okay.
Can you please state your name and spell it for the court reporter?
Lindsay Smith, Lindsay, Smith, Smith.
Where do you work?
I'm employed by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
And what is your role at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation?
I'm the special agent in charge assigned to the Statesboro Field Office.
What is a special agent in charge?
So my responsibilities are to supervise the personnel assigned to that office. We have 6 case agents, 2 crime scene specialists, an assistant special agent in charge, an office manager, and an intel analyst assigned to the office.
And in that capacity, have you ever been a field agent yourself?
Yes, I have.
How long have you been with the GBI total?
19 and a half years.
And in your time with them in the 19 and a half years, is that the only role that you had, meaning special agent in charge, or what are your other prior titles?
So I began my career as a narcotics agent. I was promoted to special agent where I worked field work cases. Then I was promoted to assistant special agent in charge, and then now special agent in charge.
Would it be fair to say that each of those were promotions, essentially?
That's correct.
Okay. And prior to the GBI, were you in law enforcement, or is this your first law enforcement position?
I was in law enforcement previously.
Where were you?
I was assigned to the Altima Hall Drug Task Force as a narcotics agent.
How long were you with them?
Almost 3 years,
Okay, so in total, how long have you been in law enforcement?
22 years.
And in that time, would it be fair to say that you've also assisted in crime scenes and investigations of cases?
That's correct.
How many cases do you think you've managed over the course of your career? Estimated, not exact.
Hundreds.
Okay. And in that capacity, have you worked in partnership with other agencies?
Yes, I have.
In this case specifically, were you working in a partnership with any other agencies?
Yes, I was.
Can you tell the jury what agencies were involved in the investigation of this case?
Sure. We received our request from the Liberty County Sheriff's Office, but also during the investigation, we coordinated with other state law enforcement agencies, the Department of Natural Resources, Georgia State Patrol. We also coordinated with some federal agencies such as the FBI.
Okay. And you indicated that your title now is Special Agent in Charge. Was that your title in December of 2022?
No, it was not.
What were you at that time?
I was the Assistant Special Agent in Charge.
Congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you.
Can you explain to the jury what the difference is between the Assistant Special Agent in Charge and the Special Agent in Charge?
Sure, we have similar roles. As the Assistant Special Agent in Charge, my involvement was more operational, whereas now I'm more administrative.
Were you on duty December 2nd of 2022?
Yes, I was.
What was your role that day in connection with this case?
It was actually after hours, but I was contacted by the case agent, Tracy Sands, to let me know that we had received a request for assistance from the Liberty County Sheriff's Office.
And how does that work, receiving a request?
The majority of the time, the call comes into our communications center. They have our on-call roster available. Once the call comes in, then they contact the on-call agent.
And the on-call agent that evening was?
Tracy Sands.
And as a result of Agent Sands being contacted, would that have been him who then gets assigned basically to that case?
Yes, that's correct.
Did that happen here?
Yes, it did.
Did you go anywhere to assist in the investigation at that point when you received the call from Agent Sands?
Not on that evening, I did not.
Okay. Is there a reason you didn't respond yourself?
I didn't feel that there was a need for me to be there at that time.
How long had Agent Sands been working with the GBI by the time you had gotten that call?
Probably 25 years.
Were you confident that he was able to handle that?
Yes, I was.
And when you got the call initially, you said it came in from Liberty County Sheriff's Office. Did you know what county that the remains, the initial piece of her remains, were recovered?
Yes, it would have been Liberty County.
Okay. Can you tell the jury what the relationships of the counties are kind of in that area where Jones Road and Barrington Ferry is? Is that all Liberty County or is that near other counties? How does that work?
No, it's Liberty County, McIntosh County, and Long County kind of converge together in that general area.
Okay. So her physical remains initially were in Liberty County. Do you know if any of the other remains were found in places other than Liberty County?
Yes, they were.
Where were they found?
In McIntosh County.
Okay, so Liberty and McIntosh?
Yes.
Okay, and when the initial call came in though, her remains were in Liberty?
That's correct.
Did that impact who you partnered with in connection with this case?
Yes, it did.
How so?
So since we got the request from the Liberty County Sheriff's Office, we would be working with them.
Okay, and when you ultimately, well, let me back up. Did you get to the scene at some point?
Yes, I did.
What day did you go to the Portal Hunting Club down in Riceboro?
I went out that Monday, December 5th.
Okay, and when you got there on December 5th, why did you go there?
We were doing an extensive search that day, and I wanted to participate.
Okay, when you say extensive search, can you tell the jury what you mean by that? What was going on?
Sure, we coordinated with some canine handlers out of South Carolina, the Department of Natural Resources, obviously some more personnel from my office, and individuals from the Liberty County Sheriff's Office. And so our task was to go out there, saturate the area to look for additional remains that we were still missing and any other evidence.
Was it important to find the rest of her remains?
Yes, it was.
Can you tell the jury why?
At that point, we were missing her head, which is obviously a large piece of the puzzle that would help us identify who she was. We'd know what she looked like, what her eye color was, hair color.
And at that point, did you have any idea who she was?
We did not.
Had steps already been taken to try and identify her?
On the 5th?
As of even the first day?
Yes.
Okay, but had they yielded any results?
No, they had not.
Okay, so when you get out there on December 5th, can you tell us who was present at the scene?
Tracy Sands was out there, our crime scene specialist, Brett Dickerson. There was a representative from Department of Natural Resources, I believe 3 canine teams, and some members of the Liberty County Sheriff's Office. I don't recall specific names.
Okay, and you mentioned Special Agent Dickerson. Did you assist him at some point on that day in the course of this investigation?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell the jury what you did to assist Agent Dickerson?
Sure. He had collected a sample of maggots from the left leg that we had found. Those maggots needed to be boiled, essentially, so I was able to perform that task.
Okay. Was he able to do that out in the field?
No, he was not.
So did you physically take them somewhere to do that?
I did. I had contacts in the area that were able to provide me with this outdoor kitchen, so to speak, where I was able to heat water and then pour the boiling water on top of the maggots.
And that processing, did you receive any guidance, without telling us exactly what was said, did you receive any guidance on how to perform that task?
Yes, I did.
Who did you receive that guidance from?
It was through Agent Dickerson, but from Dr. Mondor.
Okay. And do you know what his role was in this case?
He's an entomologist that works for Georgia Southern University that we consult with sometimes.
Okay. And when you boiled the maggots, what did you do with them afterwards?
I went back to the crime scene and turned them over to Agent Dickerson.
Okay. Did they remain in your custody the entire time that you went to process them before you returned them to Agent Dickerson?
Yes, they did.
And so when you gave them to Agent Dickerson, he was the last person that had them after you?
That's correct.
Do you know if they were submitted at some point to Dr. Mondor for review?
Yes, they were.
And would the special agent in charge and the assistant special agent in charge have to manage somehow the funding for taking care of that?
Yes.
Okay. Does the Georgia Bureau of Investigation Crime Laboratory have the ability to do that kind of testing itself?
No, they don't.
So that would have required you to go somewhere else?
That's correct.
In your career, how many times have you had bugs processed?
That was the first.
Why did you do that?
To preserve them as they were, so that we could get a better timeline on how long the remains had been in the woods.
As of that date, December 5th, did you have any idea exactly how long they were in the woods?
No, we did not.
So what would Dr. Mondor be able to provide you in terms of that you were hoping to accomplish?
A date range of how long they had been out there, particularly when they were placed there.
Now, when you learned that the deceased, in this case, Mindy, had been dismembered, did that cause you any concerns for the investigation?
Yes, it did.
Why?
At that particular time, we still did not have her head, which was going to be useful in identification.
Did you contact anybody once the head was recovered?
Yes, I did.
Who did you contact?
I contacted the GBI's forensic artist, Kelly Lawson, to request some assistance with the photograph at that time.
Okay. And can you tell the jury what would the forensic artist have to do with this case?
So initially, I received a photograph from the autopsy of the face of Miss Mindy. And my initial request to the forensic artist was to ask if she could make the picture look better so that it could be released to the media. That was not an option in this case, so what we did was have her basically draw an image to be used to release for the media.
So if you had had a, for lack of a better word, non-traumatized face, would you have released that photograph?
It's possible, depending on how it looked.
So it's the condition of the body?
That's correct.
Okay. So in this case, given the condition of the body, you were not able to do that?
That's right.
Okay. So did you provide anything to Kelly Lawson, the forensic artist, in conjunction with your request?
Yes, I sent her the photograph that we obtained from the autopsy.
And if you know, was that head modified in any way during the course of the autopsy in terms of the photograph you received?
It had been cleaned, but other than that, nothing else.
Okay. And did you give her any other details concerning the appearance of the deceased?
Yes, I did.
What did you provide to her?
We were able to provide height, possible weight, and the hair type, essentially.
Okay. Did you discuss with her eye color?
Yes.
What eye color did you tell her?
We told her brown at the time.
And you say at the time. Why did that change at some point?
It did.
Why?
I don't know the scientific reasoning behind it. During autopsy, the eyes appeared to be brown. I do believe they were naturally a different color.
Okay. Would Dr. Lehman be able to explain that as he did to you at some point?
Yes.
Okay. And I say Dr. Lehman, who was he?
He was our medical examiner who performed the autopsy.
Okay. So initially, you simply thought the eyes were brown.
That's correct.
Okay. And so when that information was provided, did that include that information to Ms. Lawson?
Yes, it did.
Ultimately, did you ever receive a drawing back from Ms. Lawson?
Yes, I did.
Can you explain to the jury what you did with that drawing?
Sure. We were able to create a flyer per se with the photograph on it and some additional identifying information, and then we've included our phone number and ways to contact the GBI should someone recognize the picture.
And do you know what day that was that you received and posted, so to speak, that flyer that you just referred to?
So I received the flyer on December 11th, which I believe was a Sunday, and it went out to the media that Monday, the 12th.
Okay. And that was in 2022?
Yes.
Okay. And as a result of receiving that and posting it, did you receive any leads or tips from people seeing that photograph?
We did receive some leads.
Okay. Tell us how you managed those tips coming into the GBI.
We have an intel analyst assigned to our office, and she was able to maintain a spreadsheet with information that we were getting as the calls came in. We received tips from over 17 states across the country.
Okay. Were you fielding those tips and investigating them?
I believe I may have taken a call or two, but mostly that was being handled by a case agent and the intel analyst.
Okay. When those tips started coming in, did you ultimately identify her through the tips?
No, we did not.
So subsequent to that first photograph, did there come a time when there was a second drawing?
Yes, there was.
When was the second drawing?
If I can refer to my notes, that was on January 3rd.
On January 3rd, did you receive a second drawing?
Yes, I did.
Who did you receive it from?
From Kelly Lawson.
Okay. And when Ms. Lawson sent you that drawing, tell the jury what you did with it.
We submitted another flyer with some additional information and put it out to our media.
Okay. Did that also get posted to the public media?
Yes, it did.
Did you receive additional tips?
Yes, we did.
Did you do any better with the second drawing than the first?
No, we did not.
No identification?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to show you what I'm going to mark as 1.16.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm not going to show this because it's a manual photograph, so I'm going to ask the jury when ultimately I publish it, just to keep it so that it can't be seen. May I approach?
Yes, sir.
I'm showing you what's been marked as 1.16. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize that to be?
That's the photo that was taken at the autopsy that was provided to Kelly Lawson.
What is it a photograph of?
It's a photograph of Mindy's face.
Okay. Is that her whole head?
That's her face. The neck is not in the photograph.
Okay. Is that a fair and accurate duplicate of exactly what you sent to Ms. Lawson?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to tender 1.16.
Any objection, Your Honor? It's in the,
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to publish that to the jury.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would just hold it closely so that it's not exposed to anyone. Head back to the witness, please.
That was the photograph you sent to Ms. Lawson, correct?
Yes, it is.
And you indicated that you had received some sketches back from her afterwards, is that right?
That's correct.
And ultimately, you said there were some flyers that were produced as a result using those sketches?
That's right.
I'm now going to ask, Your Honor, that these be marked as 1.17 and 1.18. I've provided counsel with a copy already. May I show these to the witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize what's in 1.17 and 1.18?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us what's 1.17?
This the first rendering that Kelly Lawson gave us.
Okay, and that was back on December 11th of 22, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and with respect to 1.18, what is that?
It's another rendering. It's the second one that we received.
And when was that one received?
That would have been on January 5th.
I believe you tested.
3rd, I'm sorry, 3rd.
Okay, so it was January 3rd. What was January 5th? What happened on January 5th? Did that get posted or something?
I don't recall. I think I just misspoke, so it was the 3rd.
Okay, so when you received that from her, did you then process that into a second flyer?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, I would like to tender states 1.17 and 1.18.
It is, no objection. Right, they're both admitted.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to publish those to the jury. Thank you. Now publishing 1.17 for the jury. Was that the photograph that was made into the first flyer?
Yes, it is.
And I'm now publishing 1.18. Was that the second photograph that was made into a flyer?
Yes, it is.
At some point, were there side-by-side flyers as well?
Yes, I believe so.
And ultimately, you indicated that you would receive tips on both of those photographs,
That's correct.
but no results?
Not to identify as her officially, no.
Did you investigate other individuals other than Mindy Mebane Kassotis potentially being the deceased?
Yes, we did.
Were there one, more than one? Do you have any idea approximately how many?
I would say anywhere between 75 to 100.
So you ran down a lot of leads?
Or my office did.
Not you personally, my
Yes.
apologies.
Nope.
The GBI?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, when you wound up with no results from the forensic sketches and from all these leads, what did you do next?
So I reached out to another special agent in charge within the GBI who had had success in identifying an unidentified individual. He put me in contact with an FBI agent.
And why did you call the FBI?
They were in the process of doing some genetic genealogy testing, and I reached out to him to see if he could help us with this particular case.
Do they normally help you? Not disrespectfully, but I mean, do they normally work as your partner unless requested?
No, they don't.
Okay, so in this case, you reached out for assistance?
That's correct.
Okay. Did they explain anything to you about procedures for following through with that?
Yes, there were some steps that we had to take before they would take on the case, which included providing details about what we were dealing with, what the investigation had uncovered at that point. There were some other processes that had to be undertaken where some data would be entered into some databases.
Can you explain to the jury what VICAP is?
Sure, it's the FBI's Violent Criminal Apprehension Program. Essentially, it's a database that collects information from law enforcement and compares it to other cases to see if there are similarities or connections.
And what is NamUs?
That's the National Unidentified Missing Persons System.
Okay. And what does that database do?
It also collects information from loved ones and law enforcement about missing and unidentified individuals to see if they can also make connections that with other cases that are entered into the database to hopefully resolve those cases.
Did either VICAP, and just for the record, VICAP, or NamUs, NAMUS, did either of those ultimately yield a result that assisted you?
No, they did not.
And after going through that documentation process with the FBI, who did they put you in touch with?
Gene by Gene.
How do you spell that?
GENEBYGENE.
So gene, like as in a gene in the DNA?
That's correct.
Okay. And what kind of a organization or company is Gene by Gene?
It's a private forensic laboratory.
Okay. What kind of testing do they do?
They do a genetic genealogy testing.
And how is that withdrawn? Is that something available from the GBI Coastal Crime Laboratory?
No, it is not.
Is that available by any GBI laboratory?
No, it is not.
So you had to go to a private laboratory to be able to try the genetic genealogy?
That's correct.
And as a result of that process, did you have to provide them with information about your case?
Yes, we did.
Specifically, what did you provide them in connection with this case?
I'm not sure we actually provided them with information about the case, but we did have to send them a sample of blood that was obtained from the autopsy.
Okay, and that would have been the blood from the deceased?
That's correct.
And at that time, did you know who she was?
No, we did not.
So when you sent it to Gene by Gene, what were you hoping to accomplish?
We were hoping to learn who our victim was.
Okay. As a result of that process, did you receive any information that assisted you in locating individuals that may have a connection to your deceased?
Yes, we did.
And who was that you went to speak with after that process?
The Agent Sands went to speak with Betsy Mabane.
And that's Mebane?
That's correct.
Okay. Why did they go to speak with her?
So during the testing, they were able to basically build a family tree with connections to potential family members of the victim, and she was identified as a possible mother.
Okay. And only if you know, do you know if they ultimately were able to collect a DNA sample from Mrs. Betsy Mebane?
Yes, we were.
Did you assist in any other way in the investigation?
No, other than just general oversight, supervision.
Now, the crime lab, I want to be sensitive here because I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Are there times when you submit items to the crime laboratory for analysis?
Yes.
Does your team submit items to the crime laboratory for analysis as well?
Yes.
Do you always have every item tested you request?
No, we do not.
Can you explain why?
Sure. The resources at our crime lab are limited. We are short-staffed with some scientists in certain areas, so it's impossible for them to be able to test every piece of evidence that's submitted.
Have you had your fair share of conversations hoping for potentially more items to be tested?
Yes, I have.
Did you do that in this case?
I believe so.
And can you explain what a briefing is with the crime lab? Who would do that?
So it would be a supervisor from the office and a supervisor from the crime lab get together and discuss potential additional steps that we would request be taken.
Okay, and did anyone do that in this case as supervisor?
Honestly, don't recall, but I believe so.
Do you know if you had any conversations with the crime laboratory?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you make requests for evidence to be examined?
Yes.
And did you do that in assistance with any other agents from your team?
Yes.
Who was that?
Would have been Agent Dickerson and Agent Sands.
Okay. And ultimately, did you receive reports back from the crime laboratory on the items they did ultimately test?
Yes, we did.
Without them being able to do the forensic genetic genealogy, is that why you went to Gene by Gene?
That's correct.
Did that ultimately provide you with identity for the purposes of knowing who that torso and the rest of the remains belonged to?
Yes, it did.
And who was that?
Mindy Mabane Kassotis.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good morning, Special Agent Smith.
Good morning.
My name is Doug Weinstein. I'm representing Mr. Kassotis in this case. Just a few questions. You testified that you were hoping for more items to be tested. Is that correct?
That's correct.
What specific items were you hoping that the crime lab would test?
I would hope they would have tested everything that we submitted in a perfect world.
Which specific items did you hope they would test that they would not test?
I believe the Clorox wipes or whatever type of wipes those were. Specifically, that's what stands out in my mind.
So did you request those to be tested? You had discussions with the crime lab, and then they would not test them?
I don't believe specifically we had the discussion of that. We were presenting them with the list of everything that had been provided, and once something was tested and we didn't have any success or any leads, we would ask for something else to be tested in hopes that we would get some additional information.
You said the crime lab is short-staffed in certain areas. What areas to your knowledge, is the crime lab short-staffed in?
I believe most of the scientific fields are short-staffed across the state.
And just to help the jury understand, what are the scientific fields specifically that are short-staffed across the
So I
state?
believe toxicology, the chemist, biologist.
And because of that, items that special agents or assistant special agents want to be tested, or other agents want to be tested, may not be tested by the crime lab,
That's correct.
even though you believe they should be tested.
That's correct.
No further questions. Thank you.
Just one follow-up. If you thought something was critical to the case to be able to prove or disprove the case, would you have taken that somewhere else than the GBI Coastal Lab?
Yes, we would have.
Did you do that in this case?
We did.
And did you get results from it?
We did.
Nothing further.
Anything else?
Real quick. Do you ask for items that aren't critical to be tested from the crime lab?
I believe all items that we collect are critical.
Thank you. No other questions.
All right. Any objection to the witness being excused?
No objection.
No objection.
Thank you. You are excused. You're free to go. You just leave that there. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and take a 10-minute recess this morning. If you would step out with the bailiffs, please.
Your Honor, the state calls Kelly Lawson.
All right, please raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sorry.
May I sit down?
Yes, sir. All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state and spell your name for the court reporter?
My name is Kelly Lawson, and that's KELLYLAWSON.
What do you do for a living?
I work for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
And what is your role at the GBI?
I am the forensic artist.
And you say the forensic artist. Does that mean you're the only forensic artist?
I am currently the only forensic artist.
Okay. Can you tell the jury what is a forensic artist?
A forensic artist is, well, an artist who helps with police investigations. And basically what that means is I do composite drawings, which is where if someone is raped or robbed or assaulted and they saw the face of their perpetrator, they would then come to me and I would take the description of the person that they saw and draw them on a piece of paper. Usually they're very large, 18 by 24 sheets of paper. And the police then can use that drawing to narrow the field of possible suspects and get an idea of what the guy looked like. The other half of what I do is working for unidentified remains cases. So if someone is found and the investigators don't know who that person is, then it falls upon me to do an illustration or a sculpture of that person representing what they would have looked like while they were alive in an effort to get their name for the police.
How long have you been with the GBI in that role?
I've been working with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation since 2012.
Okay. Do you have any specialized training to be able to do the job that you do?
Yes, I have a degree in drawing, painting, and printmaking from Brigham Young University. I took a course, a 40-hour course from Betty Pat Gatliff in Oklahoma for two-dimensional skull and three-dimensional skull reconstruction. I also took a 40-hour course from Lois Gibson in Texas, who is a well-known forensic artist, and I completed a 13-month-long apprenticeship under Marla Lawson, who was the former forensic artist with the Bureau of Investigation.
Have you ever testified in court before as an expert witness?
Yes.
How many times and where?
Multiple times in Cobb County, Fulton County, Clark County, and Clayton County, and DeKalb County.
Have you ever been denied expert status?
No.
At this time, Your Honor, I would like to introduce her as an expert, or tender her as an expert in the field of forensic artistry.
No objections to that, Your Honor.
All right, she's so qualified, and you may proceed.
Can you tell the jury, did there come a time when you received a photograph in connection with this case?
Yes, on I believe it was definitely a Friday, December 9th, I believe was the date of 2022. I got an email from Lindsay Smith containing a photograph of an unidentified Jane Doe that needed a drawing.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Counsel, I'm showing 1.16, 16, 17, and 18. Without displaying these,
Yes.
can you just look at those?
Okay.
I'm specifically referring to 1.16. Recognize that photograph?
Yes, I do.
And what is that a photograph?
That is a photograph of the head of the Jane Doe.
Okay. And as a result of receiving that photograph, did you make any drawings?
I did.
And what drawing did you make?
I actually, throughout the weekend of December 9th through the 11th, I completed 2 drawings.
Okay.
I completed one drawing with the hair down and one drawing with the hair up because the hair is not very visible.
Okay.
So I completed 2 drawings.
Did you provide both of those drawings right away?
I did not.
Which drawing did you provide first?
I provided the drawing with her hair up
Okay.
first.
Would that be what's depicted in 1.17?
Yes,
And then the one with the hair down, would that be 1.118?
that's correct.
Okay. Did you have any difficulty drawing this drawing in particular?
Absolutely.
Can you tell the jury why?
It is very difficult to work from remains when a person has been beheaded, because when we're typically associating with someone and communicating with them, we see them and gravity's pulling on us one direction, we're sitting up, and there are certain muscles and ligaments and tendons that go from the sides of the head and the jaw and the bottom of the jaw all the way down through the neck, and it kind of centers our face. So when those are severed from the rest of the body, it changes the entire expression, it changes the entire structure of the face. It makes it very difficult.
And did you in fact then do more than one drawing in part because of that?
That, and it was difficult also to draw from this one because I had somewhat limited information. I didn't know exactly how long her hair was. I didn't know what color it was. When I receive a case like this, I have to move rapidly because of the whole idea of police more success if they're able to try to solve the case within 8 hours. So, as opposed to going back and forth with the individuals working in the morgue to get every tiny little detail, I'll often work from what I have and get the most accurate drawing that I can. And in this particular case, I was unsure about the hair, so I ended up doing another drawing, and I felt like that drawing was prettier even though the hair was less detailed.
And with respect to her eye color, did you base that information off of what?
I based her eye color specifically off the average. A lot of times if you can't see someone's eyes, or if there's one of the first things that changes in the decomposition process is the eyes will go glassy and glazed, and they'll often change colors. So you tend to go with the average, and they say for Caucasians, the average would be brown eyes.
Okay, so even within brown, are there variations of brown?
There are absolutely variations in brown.
And how do you deal with that?
I just try to stick with something that's a beautiful photo. I know that sounds terrible, but the more beautiful the photo, compelling the photo, I guess is probably a better word than beautiful, the more likely people are to share the case, and the more people then end up seeing the case, and the likelihood of that person getting identified is better. So I will make sure, usually I tell people that, I often draw John and Jane Does almost as if they're getting their glamour shot done, but it's the last drawing someone will ever have of them their entire lives. I just feel like it's a respect thing, and it helps the public become more engaged.
I have nothing further on.
All right, Mr. Weinstein.
No question, John.
All right, thank you very much.
Your Honor, I'm going to back over if that's okay.
Yes, that's
And the state calls Peter Hershey to the stand.
Peter Hershey,
Hershey.
like the candy bar?
Sir.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Before you have a seat, if you would please raise your right hand and take the oath.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Please have a seat.
May I?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time, before we begin, I'd like to tender states 1.19. These are the business records from J.C. Lewis Ford that the state served prior notice of.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, they are admitted.
Thank you. Sir, can you please state and spell your full name for the court reporter, and just stay close to the microphone so we can all hear you?
Peter, H-E-R-S-H-E-Y.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
For a living.
For right now, I'm retired, but I worked for J.C. Lewis Ford.
Okay. What did you do at J.C. Lewis Ford?
I was in sales,
And how long were you in sales?
40 years in the car business,
Okay. And how long with J.C. Lewis Ford?
30.
Okay. And which location were you assigned to in that 30-year period?
The Savannah location.
Okay. And while at the Savannah location, did you sell cars?
I did.
Okay. And were you employed there as of July of 2022?
I was.
In anticipation of your testimony here today, I'm going to present you with states 1.19, if I may. Can you just look through that for a moment? Do you recognize those types of documents?
These would be customary documents that would be signed during the course of normal car purchase, yes.
Okay. And does that specific set of documents include the sale of a 2022 Ford Explorer?
It does.
Is that a car you sold?
Possibly. I've sold 600 cars since then, so I
Okay.
don't
Mayor?
remember specific, but
Approximately how many cars a year did you used to sell?
300?
Okay. So it would be fair to say you may not remember every single person that you sold a car to?
That would be very likely, yes.
Okay. When a car is sold, prepare documentation concerning the sale?
My side, in the sales side, it's very limited. We do a credit application, we capture driver's licenses, insurance cards, and that kind of thing to substantiate. Then it gets turned over to a business manager who actually contracts and does the documentation.
Okay. So with respect to this 1.19, I'm referring to page number 1 after the certification. I'm going to publish this if that's okay, Your Honor.
You may.
Does it indicate in this contract who the purchaser of the vehicle was?
Nicholas James Kassotis,
Okay.
or Kassotis, rather.
Okay. And you indicated that you would secure a driver's license, correct, from an
Correct.
individual purchasing.
Correct.
I'm now going to show the last page of Exhibit 1.19. Madam Clerk.
It's on our screen. This one's having a delay.
Okay. Driver's license that was secured in connection with that sale?
I would say so, yes.
And is that also for Mr. Nicholas James Kassotis?
It is.
And the address that's listed there, how would that address be? Would that be from the driver's license itself?
Correct.
I'm going back to that first page of the sales contract. Would that also list the price of the vehicle?
It will, yes.
And will it all list how it was paid for?
It will.
So down here on the lower right corner of that document, I'm referring to, forgive me while I try to manipulate that.
No worries.
Does it indicate how much the total was?
After taxes, tag, and looks like what I call a back-end product, which is your 3-for-1, looks like $44,853 and 74 cents.
Okay, so just shy of $45,000?
Correct.
And what is a 3-for-1?
3-for-1 would be like paintless dent removal, chips in the windshield, and tire and wheel. Basically covers your tire against road hazard.
So some type of insurance that you could purchase at the time of the car?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Mr. Kassotis purchased that coverage as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And can you tell the jury what a vehicle identification number is?
Oh, yeah. You need it broken down by digit or just the whole thing?
Just generally?
Okay, so one indicates, the first digit always indicates the country of manufacture. The second digit always indicates the manufacturer. Then the third, fourth, and fifth, the third and fourth digit indicate plant, I think. Then you go to the model, which is the next 3 digits, and then the engine, and you get to the year, which is, I believe, an N for 22.
Okay. And so would it be fair to say that each vehicle has its own vehicle identification number?
It would be absolutely impossible for 2 vehicles to get the same VIN number.
Okay. So every vehicle has a unique VIN number?
Correct.
And you said VIN, is that the abbreviation for vehicle
Vehicle
identification?
identification number, yes.
Okay. And with respect to the vehicle purchasing process, what type of a car was this that was sold?
It was a Ford Explorer,
Okay. And that was what year?
22.
Okay. Do you know if Ford Explorers in 2022 had the ability to have Bluetooth or telematic connection?
They did.
Can you tell the jury what the difference is between telematics and GPS?
No, I cannot.
Okay. Well, let me be more clear then. Does the car have the ability to connect to a phone?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And in doing that, does that require some equipment inside of the car?
Yes, there's a modem inside the car.
Okay. And do you know, if you know, who Ford uses as their cellular provider for that modem?
That would be AT&T.
Okay. Did this car have an AT&T modem for that 2022 Ford?
I would say it would be very likely that it would, yes.
Okay. And would that be able to be tracked based on the vehicle identification number? Meaning AT&T records?
It should be, but that would more come off the phone rather than the car.
Okay. And with respect to this vehicle, there was that vehicle identification number associated that you just referred to?
Correct.
And is that listed here on that contract right there on the top left side under?
It is under serial number.
Okay. And that is a number. Can you tell us what that number is for the record?
Read it off.
Yes, please, sir.
1, F as in Foxtrot, M as in Mike, S as in Sierra, K as in Kilo, 7, D for Delta, H for Hotel, 7, N for Nancy, G for Golf, B for Bravo, 37068.
Thank you. And with respect to this vehicle, do you see the portion where it says here at the bottom, amount financed?
I do.
And what amount was financed?
None.
So how was this car paid for?
Cash or check.
So that would be the full $44,853.74?
Correct. Now, there is a section on that buyer's order that'll show a lien holder, if there is one.
Okay. And with respect to this vehicle, are there oftentimes recalls with respect to vehicles?
Yes.
There can be, right?
Most undoubtedly are.
Okay. And would that be something that is preserved in the business records as well by J.C. Lewis Ford?
That would be a federal document.
Okay. And I'm going to ask...
We pull a recall. We used to customarily pull a recall notice because it is against Ford policy to sell a vehicle with an open recall.
Right, for safety's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
That is a yes. I'm
Sorry, just the reporter needs to get that.
My apology.
Not a problem. I'm now showing you the third page of that exhibit. And that recall for that vehicle, can you tell us what it was?
It was a rear axle bolt fracture.
If there were other recalls, would they be part of the sales packet?
Yes.
Now I'm just going to show one other item for you, sir. apologies, I'm showing council the page. I don't know exactly which number it is in the exhibit, but I want you to see it, sir. Thank you. I'm showing you a single page from within this exhibit. On the top right here, do you recognize that document?
I do.
Part of the sales package?
It is.
And I'd like to point just up here to the far right. Does it say salesman?
It does.
Who is that?
That would be me, Peter Hershey.
And specifically, in order to gain commission as a salesman, do you need to get your name on a sales contract?
I do.
Okay, so you would be fairly convinced that that would be you that had sold that vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Weinstein?
Good morning, Mr. Hershey.
Good morning.
My name is Doug Weinstein, and I'm representing Mr. Kassotis in this case. So I have a few questions for you.
Certainly.
You were in the car sales business for 40 years, correct?
That is correct.
And when did you retire?
February 7th this year.
February of 20.
Yes.
Can you tell me in broad strokes, what do you do when you go selling a car to an individual? What's your approach?
Well, they have what they call the road to the sale. But basically create a rapport, find out what they want, and sell them the car.
And when you're selling them the car in your case, do you tell them about the features in the car?
Generally speaking, yes.
Is-
Sometimes the customer knows more about the features than we do. But they've done research on one car, we have to know 10 or 12.
As a salesperson, do you go through training on the features on various vehicles?
Yes, we do.
And as part of that training, you learn the features of the cars, correct?
Correct.
This, and then of course, at times you explain those features, as you said, to your potential customers.
Call that a features benefit presentation, yes.
What about after the sale? Like after you've made the sale, do you explain the features further then as well?
If the customer requires that, yes.
Okay. And we were talking about connection features in this 2022 Ford Explorer.
Yes, sir.
The features you mentioned, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that known as Ford Pass Connect?
It is part of that, part of the connectivity or what the telematics, whatever you want to call it, is Ford Pass, yes.
Is Ford Pass.
I can take my cell phone, start my car, lock it, unlock it, see the oil pressure or the oil life. You can see where the car is. So yes, you can track your own car.
So if I had one of these 2022 Ford Explorers and I've got my phone and I'm not near the car, I'm somewhere else, I can tell where the car is?
Yes,
That's a great feature, right?
it's wonderful.
Is that something that you would sell people on?
Depends on whether that comes up that they're interested in it or not at the point in time. When I do finish up with my presentation, I will traditionally pair the phones and show them the features on Ford Pass Connect.
Okay, that's a part of your regular routine.
It is.
So you pair their phone up,
Mm-hmm.
you show them the features of Ford Pass Connect,
Correct.
you show them how, look, you can see where your car is if you're not near your car.
Mhm.
You can see, I believe, the oil level in the car, you said?
Fuel level, oil level, miles to empty, whether there's a recall on the car or not, there's all kind of information there.
Now, as I understand it, you don't recall specifically selling this car to Mr. Kassotis because you sell so many cars, correct?
Sir, that would be like 600 to 900 cars ago, yes. And it was during COVID, and half the time during COVID, we didn't meet the customer.
I
The
understand.
car would get delivered to them, and we would have done the paperwork.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to ask about, do you keep up, we were talking about recalls on these vehicles. So this car was sold in 2022, correct? It's a 2022 vehicle. And I believe that we saw that there was one recall at the time of sale. Now, at the time of sale, you don't know about recalls that are going to pop up in the future, correct?
That is correct.
So if there's recalls that come in 2023, that wouldn't be on the sale paper from 2022.
It would not.
And if there's recalls from 2024, that's not going to be on the sales paperwork either.
Not unless you can get somebody to have a crystal ball and print from that crystal ball, no.
I know. I mean, my clients often want me to have a crystal ball, but I don't have one. And I'm sure your customers are the same way, right?
That's correct.
So you were still working as a salesman with Ford as August 2024, in August 2024.
That is correct.
So are you aware of the recall that Ford issued in August 2024 of 85,000 Ford Explorers for engine fires?
Objection, Your Honor, as to when? In August of 2024, or when was the recall counsel's referring to?
I'm asking if the witness is aware of a recall that was issued in August of 2024 for 85,000 Ford Explorers for engine fires.
Which would only matter, Your Honor, for relevance if that was applicable to a 2022 model.
These, let me be more specific, I'm sorry. I'll rephrase the question. Are you aware of a recall that Ford issued in August of 2024 for 85,000 2020 to 2022 model year Ford Explorers for engine fires?
I probably knew about the recall at the time. I probably had some kind of issue, would have called the service department to see if they could fix them, because I would get phone calls from customers that would ask about the recall. Do I remember that specific recall? No. Ford has literally, I hate to say it, but literally several recalls a year.
And Ford is not unusual in that, right?
No,
To
every
protect Ford here.
manufacturer has those.
Okay. But again, an August 2024 recall would not have shown up in 2022 paperwork, correct?
That would be obvious, yes, sir. It would be correct.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Anything else on redirect?
You simply said, correct me if I'm misunderstanding, you just don't recall if there was or wasn't one.
Yes, you are right.
Nothing else, Your Honor.
All right. Can the witness be excused?
No objection from the state.
Mr. Hershey, thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, our next witness, please.
At this time, the state calls Dean Glover.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Please raise your right hand and take the oath.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Please have a seat, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Can you please tell the court reporter your full name and spell it, please?
Dean Stanford Glover, DeanStanfordGlover.
Mr. Glover, where do you work?
City of Riceburg.
What do you do for them?
I'm the public works supervisor.
And as the Public Works Supervisor, you said that was with the City of Riceboro?
Correct.
Okay. Can you tell us, where is the City of Riceboro located in Liberty County?
Well, it is between Hinesville and Brunswick, actually, so about 20 miles away.
Okay. So if you headed south on I-95, would you hit basically your
Yeah.
area?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you do as the supervisor for that department?
I'm pretty much is the director, for the public works, sanitation, and just wastewater, sewer, and
Okay.
public. Just anything dealing with the city.
Okay. And in that capacity, do you have a location that you're assigned to?
Yes.
Where are you assigned?
793 Barrington Ferry.
Okay. And is there a building at that location?
Correct.
Okay. When, I'm going to turn your attention back to December of 2022. Were you assigned to work at that same building at the time?
Correct.
And where is that building located? You gave us an address, but how would you get there?
Basically on Barrington Ferry is just go to Riceboro to the caution light and take a left.
Okay.
A right, I'm sorry.
Okay. And if you were coming down I-95, would there be an exit that would take you there as well?
52.
Okay.
It's them. Let me see.
It passes by, correct.
Okay. Is it fair to say that Barrington Ferry and Jones Road are kind of the same name, just at different places on the roadway?
Correct.
Okay. So depending on which county you're in, will kind of depend on what you call it?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you worked there?
12 and a half years.
And in that 12 and a half years, do you know if there are any cameras at that location?
Yes, they are.
When did those cameras get installed?
After 9/11,
Why did you install cameras after 9/11?
it was mandatory after 9/11.
Federal government required it,
Correct.
and they were installed?
Yes.
Are there cameras on the pumping station building? I believe that's what that is. Is that correct?
It's a well.
It's a well, okay.
Yes.
Are there cameras on that building?
Correct.
And is there any type of security surrounding the building?
Fencing.
What kind of fencing?
Chain link.
Okay, is there anything on top of the chain link fence?
Barbed wire.
Barbed
Yes.
wire, right?
Correct, yes.
And were the cameras at that building working in late November of 2022?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what area the cameras capture from that building?
The roadway and the entrance of the well.
Okay.
Yes.
And does there exist a security system to preserve that video footage?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm going to call it a DVR, that digital video recording device. Was there
Yes.
one present inside of the building?
Yes, ma'am.
And would you have been responsible for maintaining that?
Correct.
Would you also have been responsible if there were any problems to get it fixed?
Correct.
Did there come a time when you had a chance to look at that video footage and determine if there was a timestamp on it?
Yes.
Is there a timestamp?
Yes.
Is that timestamp accurate to the best of your knowledge?
It is because it's controlled by the satellite, just like your cell phone.
Okay, so that is correct and current.
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that those cameras do record, correct?
Correct. Correct.
And that video recording equipment, who has access to it?
Basically, just myself in the city when something happened. It's myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did there come a time when law enforcement asked you about that video footage?
Correct.
Do you recall when that was?
Date and time, no, but it just happened when we had an incident now.
Okay.
And the reason why, because I am a volunteer fire department on that, so when we get situations, we do.
Okay. So if I direct your attention back to December of 2022. Is that approximately when, even if you don't recall the exact date?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And when law enforcement requested to see that footage, did you show it to them?
Correct. I gave them the DVR from them to extract.
You gave them the whole thing?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And was that, would that have enabled them to download any footage from that device?
Yes.
And you turned that over to them yourself?
Correct.
Did that device include footage from November 29th of 2022 that you had a chance to look at before your testimony today?
Yes.
And was that a accurate and complete documentation of the entire time period surrounding the very end of November into December of 2022?
Yes.
Specifically in anticipation of this court date, were you able to look at just smaller clips of that time?
Yes, ma'am.
And were those a fair and accurate depiction of what was captured by the cameras on those dates?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Did it display the timestamp?
Yes.
I'm going to ask, Your Honor, that the witness be shown 1.25, a USB. May I approach?
You may.
I've had this marked. Do you recognize the initials on that USB?
Yes, that's mine.
Okay. And is this the actual USB that you watched on that day?
Yes.
Did you have an occasion to determine if that captured the same area that you just described to the jury?
Yes.
And did it?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I'm actually going to plug this in so we can see it. If you want to just leave it off for one moment. Go ahead. Were you also shown some still photographs?
Yes.
And were those in fact just snaps of the actual original video?
Yes.
I'm going to show those to you right now. These have been marked as 1.20 through 1.24. I'm showing them to counsel. Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Mr. Glover, I'm showing you 1.20.
Okay.
Do you recognize what's depicted there?
Yes.
What is that, sir?
That is the well.
Okay. Is there a building there as well?
Correct.
Okay. And is that building the one that has cameras on it?
Yes.
Does that building have that fencing and the stuff you just described
Yes.
to us? And I'm now showing you 1.21 through 1.24. In that order. Do you recognize what's in those photographs?
Yes.
What are those photographs of?
And well, I'm looking at the vehicle and the fencing, and this is the that big box is just what we have our electricity come through for the well. Yes.
So you recognize that as being where you were working?
Yes.
Okay. Are those a fair and accurate depiction of what's on the camera and your building on photographs 1.20 through 1.24?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to introduce those and tender them.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, they're admitted without objection.
Thank you. I'd also, Your Honor, like to tender 1.25, which is the video footage of those two clips I was referring to.
USB.
The USB.
No objection.
It's also admitted.
One moment, my apologies. Just for the record, Your Honor, I'm going to ask to publish the file ending in ID 23302. I have this up on the screen. Do you see that video that's playing? Oh, maybe not. Zero. What building is depicted right here?
It is the well,
Okay, and that building, does that have cameras on it?
correct.
That's the ones that we have here?
Yes, ma'am.
And this road that passes directly in front of it, what road is that?
Well, a lot of people call it different things, but we know it's like hometown rolls into Homestown. Yes.
Okay.
Jones, Hometown.
Jones.
Yeah. It's
Does that
got
also
very,
turn into Barrington Ferry?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. A lot of names for it, but that's the road that passed in front?
Correct.
Okay. And do you see specifically that chain link fence that you're referring to there?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm now going to show you photograph 1.21. Do you see this up at the top left corner?
Yes.
What is that?
Top left is the,
Is that the timestamp?
yeah, it is.
Okay.
I'm
Does that list
looking
a
at your
date and a
light.
time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that was what you indicated was
Yes.
on there? Okay.
Yes.
And now specifically, do you see the fence there that you were referring to earlier?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's that chain link barbed wire fence?
Mm-hmm.
Is there also a vehicle that is captured there?
Yes, ma'am.
And that still photograph, that was just taken off of the camera?
Correct.
Do you know that car?
No, I don't.
You drove that car?
No, I don't.
Okay. I'm now showing you 1.22. Does that also have a timestamp on it?
Yes.
I say that's about 2 seconds later.
Yes.
And is that car now depicted here as well?
Yes.
Is that passing in front of the facility?
Smoke. Yes.
And just so the record is clear, what side of the car, driver's side or passenger side, is closest while passing here?
It is the passenger.
Okay, so fair to say you can't really see the driver of this vehicle?
No, I don't.
And now I'm showing you 1.23. Is there a timestamp on this one?
Yes.
And what time is that?
12
12
and
o'clock,
13
seconds,
seconds.
right?
Yes.
It's very precise.
Mm-hmm.
And do you see anything on that roadway?
Yeah, I see a vehicle.
Okay. And is that the same type of vehicle as the one in the last screenshot?
Yes, going in the opposite direction.
Okay, so now the driver's side is closer, is that right?
Yes.
And now showing you 1.24. Does this also have a timestamp?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say just a couple seconds later?
Yes,
Do you have a better view of that vehicle now?
I do.
Okay. And again, do you recognize that vehicle?
The same as we've seen before in the pictures, but not, I don't know it.
You personal?
No, ma'am, I
Okay.
don't.
Now, you indicated that law enforcement had asked you for the DVR and you provided it, right?
Correct.
Was that the material that they were able to retrieve from there?
Yes.
Okay. Other than turning over the video footage, did you do anything in relationship to this case?
No more than, not in relation, you know, we just was searching around for some of the remains, you know.
So you helped with the search too?
Yes, a little,
Okay.
yes.
You didn't find anything though, right?
No, I did not.
And the road that passes in front of your building, is that a paved road, a county road?
It's a dirt.
It's a dirt road,
It's half belong to Liberty, the others to McIntosh.
okay? And if you were to go down that road on Jones Road, would you ultimately come upon the Portal Hunting Club?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Weinstein?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Doug Weinstein, and I represent Mr. Kassotis in this case. I just have a few questions. Let me see that. Okay. With respect to this exhibit, which is 1.21, I believe you testified that you can't see who's driving that vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 1.23. You can't see who's driving well there either, can you?
Okay, now?
Exhibit 1.24, you can see who's driving that vehicle there either, can you?
Okay.
How familiar are you with this LS brand DVR?
Just something we purchased. I'm not familiar no more than that. It rewrites itself after so often, yes.
How often does it rewrite itself?
I think it's something like every 30 days, if I'm not correct.
Are you the individual that set up that DVR at the station at the well?
Far as, no, it's a technician that sets it up, but I am the one that's responsible for make sure it's serviceable, yes.
But you are not the tech of that DVR,
No, I'm
correct? And you are not the individual that went through the setup procedure for this LTS Chinese DVR.
No, I'm not.
So you didn't set the time zone for the DVR,
I did not.
okay, or anything else. Okay, thank you. That's all I need to know. I appreciate your help.
Well,
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir. You're excused.
thank you.
Have a good afternoon. Yes, ma'am.
At this time, Your Honor, the state calls Brittany Gresham to the stand. Calls Brittany Gresham to the stand. Calls Brittany Gresham to the stand. How many cases do you think you've handled as a forensic toxicologist? Estimate.
Thousands. We average.
Now, you work in which crime laboratory?
Headquarters, which is located in Decatur.
So is there a closer one than headquarters to this office or this location?
There is. There is also a lab located in Pooler, near Savannah, Coastal Laboratory.
Okay. Does the Coastal Laboratory handle toxicology?
They do, but at this point, they were in postmortem toxicology.
Okay, so as of December of 2022, the GBI Coastal Lab is not capable of performing those services?
They were, it was just a decision that was made that they were to do it yet. At this point, they are now performing postmortem alcohol donations.
Okay, so at the time, they just didn't do postmortem yet, but they have since become capable of providing that? Okay. But at the time of this case, would your location have been the one requested by GBI to handle those services then?
Yes.
And did you in fact get requested to handle something connected to this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you tell us, the Atlanta facility, the State Crime Lab, is that an accredited laboratory?
It is.
Can you explain to the jury what that means?
Accredited means that an outside body has evaluated our practices and determined that we do meet the standards of the scientific community.
And what procedures are required to maintain accreditation?
We go surveillance visits where they come out and observe performing our analysis in the laboratory and also observing our case management. They come out every 4 years, I'm sorry.
So they evaluate the laboratory itself, correct?
Yes.
Do they also evaluate the personnel at the laboratory?
Yes.
Who does that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
They observe.
Okay, and you said us, who do they observe specifically?
We have scientists and we have laboratory technicians as well as receiving technicians.
Do each of those different fields have to be maintained and accredited as well as the facility?
No, we're not individually accredited.
Okay, so the whole unit is accredited, but all of those different evaluations get conducted across the agency?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And does that include yourself?
Yeah.
How often do you personally get reviewed by that body?
Personally, I've been actually observed, I think twice in my 14 years there. They don't observe everybody.
Okay, so it's a spot check essentially?
Correct.
So do you know if it's coming?
I'm not sure of the schedule at the moment.
Okay, so my question I guess to you is, other than them, who else verifies your work? Meaning peer review. Can you explain what that is to the jury, peer review?
Peer review is the process by which another trained, qualified scientist observes your work before it goes out the door.
Does that happen how often?
100%.
So every single case that you work, somebody else reviews it before it gets passed along?
In the toxicology section, yes.
Okay. Have you ever testified before in court in the field of forensic toxicology?
I have.
How many times?
Approximately 25.
Okay. And in those times, where did you do that? What counties?
Some examples: Fulton, DeKalb, Gwinnett, Richmond, Chatham, Fayette.
Welcome to Liberty.
Add that to the list.
Okay. And in those times you were brought to those locations, were you qualified as an expert?
Yes.
Have you ever been denied expert status?
No.
At this time, Your Honor, I'm going to ask that this witness be deemed an expert in the field of forensic toxicology.
No objection. Well, I think she is qualified and can give her opinions in the field of forensic toxicology. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Were you asked to analyze any biological samples in connection with this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Before I show you any paperwork, can you tell the jury, how does a sample come into the lab?
A sample can be received at the laboratory via mail, hand-to-hand delivery, or via a lockbox, which operates like a two-way locker. One side of the locker is available to the evidence receiving technicians in our evidence receiving department, and the other door is available to the submitting agency, so either our medical examiners or any other agency. Once a submitting agency puts their evidence in that locker, it's locked and can't be opened again from the outside, and so it has to be retrieved from interior with the evidence receiving technicians.
Is that the case with every single submission?
Yes.
Okay. And so there's no way that anybody could interfere potentially with those samples?
Correct.
Now, ultimately, when those samples are received by the evidence technician, do they get documented with a title or a case number?
Yes, they get a unique case number, and each piece of evidence gets a unique barcode and number associated with it as well.
Okay. And is that unique to every single item on each case that gets submitted?
Yes.
And would there be an overarching case number associated with a case being handled by the lab?
Yes.
How does that lab numbering system work, meaning internally?
It is maintained within our LIMS, our Laboratory Information Management System.
Okay. And when a case number is assigned to a case, if, for example, more than one piece of evidence came in at different times, would they be then attached to the same case file?
Correct.
And they would then bear the same number?
Right.
Okay, so you would know if potentially more items had been submitted and either needed your attention or some other division of the laboratory.
Right.
How many divisions are there in the laboratory? Sections, I guess is the right way to put it.
I am not sure. We have biology, we have trace, we have our firearms division, we have our medical examiner's office. I believe that's it.
And toxicology?
Toxicology. Oh, and chemistry.
And chemistry, okay. So would it be fair to say that your area and field is limited only to toxicology?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't touch any DNA?
No.
Now, do you know where the samples in this case that you analyzed came from?
They came from the medical examiner after he performed the autopsy.
Okay. So the medical examiner, how would he submit them to you?
Via the lockbox. That's how he submitted it.
So even though he works for the GBI crime laboratory, he still submits a piece of evidence in the same fashion as every other agency?
Correct. Even though the medical examiner's office is under the umbrella of the crime lab, they still submit evidence the same way any other agency would.
Okay. And in this case, did you receive a sample from him that you reviewed?
Yes.
What kind of a sample was it?
I received a liver specimen.
Okay. Can you tell us what that means?
During the autopsy, the medical examiner took a piece of the liver and he decided that that was what he wanted analyzed. I believe that he also took gastric contents, I believe spleen blood, kidney, and muscle, but he submitted the liver to the HQ laboratory for analysis.
And did you perform an analysis on that substance?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us what the protocol or standard operating procedure you follow when you receive a sample? How does that work when you get it?
The actual processing of the liver, or?
No. When you receive an item to analyze, how do you get it to go do your review?
We have a management that assigns various cases to us.
So you didn't select this case, it was assigned to you?
Correct.
And when that came, how did you get the sample to review and analyze? Where do you go to get that?
We store our evidence in a locked cold room, so I retrieved it from there.
And in doing so, can you tell the jury what you had to do to process that sample?
Yes, per our policy on handling liver specimens, we perform a 1 to 10 dilution. So we cut a small piece of the liver and we dilute it with water and we blend it up to homogenize it or make it uniform. And this allows us to be able to process it during our extractions or lab procedures.
Can you explain the difference between a physical liver sample versus a fluid like blood? How would you do it with blood?
With blood, you don't have to do any kind of processing with it. We can just sample it the way it is.
Okay. So are there limitations with liver samples?
Yes, the preferred specimen for toxicology analysis is going to be blood because that's what's actively circulating in the system at the time of death, and that's what's going to be affecting your brain.
If there had been amputation or dismemberment, could that impact the integrity of a blood sample?
It could.
Can you tell the jury what putrid means as it relates to toxicology?
Putrid indicates that a body has undergone some decomposition.
And as a result, how would a putrid sample affect your ability to forensically examine a sample?
I don't perform alcohol analysis myself, but it would affect the alcohol result.
So in terms of alcohol, how would decomposition impact alcohol?
The process of decomposition actually creates alcohol in your body, so that's going to skew the possible results.
So is it possible to tell whether that was in theory then, for layman's term, drinking alcohol versus decomposition alcohol?
Correct, you can't tell.
So you would just know there was some alcohol, you just wouldn't know where it came from?
Yes.
So with respect to this, you then tested the liver sample, correct?
Yes.
And in testing the liver sample, can you explain if the body cavity was exposed, meaning there was an opening in the neck, could that have in some way impacted the toxicology results?
Could you rephrase?
Sure. If the head had been removed and there was an opening to the body cavity, could that have caused complications with any results?
The integrity of some samples might be, some samples might not be of integral value. I know that the medical examiner did take some chest fluid, but he deemed that not suitable for analysis due to the fact that the body cavity was open. And that's one reason why he submitted the liver.
So if you had had blood, would you have used blood?
Yes.
Did you have any blood to use?
No.
All you had was the liver?
That's what was submitted.
Okay. Now, can you tell the jury the specific methods of analytical review that you used? I know we talked about GCMS and some of the other equipment. What are those processes?
To start with, the specimen was screened on something called, on my report, it's referenced LCHR-MS, which is high resolution liquid chromatography mass spectrometry. And what that's going to do is it's going to separate the components of a mixture, and then it's going to help us identify them via the mass spectrum. The other instrumental techniques that I used are LC-MS and GCMS, which work similar. The GCMS is gas chromatography mass spectrometry. So once again, they're going to separate the components of a mixture and then help us to identify them.
That sounded very complicated. Is that where you get the specialized training?
Yes, we do have training in that.
And you're trained on how to use that equipment?
Yes.
Okay. So when you do that initial analysis, are you able at that point to determine what, if any, components may be in the specimen?
Yes, our screen looks for about 150 drugs, and whatever is found there will go forward for confirmation testing to determine if it is present above our limiter report.
Okay. Can you test out there?
No, we don't test for everything out there.
Why not?
Some things aren't necessarily applicable to our casework, and other things we just don't even know are out there yet. So we're constantly improving our methodologies and adding new drugs to our libraries.
So you use the phrase library. Would it be fair to say that in order to know whether you would have to compare it to something?
Correct.
So if you ran the specimen and you didn't have a comparison for a particular type of drug, you wouldn't know if it's there?
Right.
Okay. When you performed this, did you recover or see any particular substances that were present during the analysis?
Yes, I was able to detect and confirm diphenhydramine in the liver.
Okay. Can you spell diphenhydramine?
DIPHEHIDRAMIN.
Sorry. Put you on the spot. I was a child reporter. What is that commonly known as?
Diphenhydramine is commonly known as Benadryl.
Okay. So diphenhydramine is the fancy chemical name for it, but Benadryl is what we're talking about?
That's a brand name for it, yes.
Okay. Can you tell us what the effects of Benadryl in your system be?
Diphenhydramine is a antihistamine. That's the classification. What it's doing is it's acting on the histamine receptors in your body to prevent allergic reactions from occurring. One of the possible side effects of that, however, is drowsiness. And as such, it has also become a common sleep aid.
Can diphenhydramine be distributed over the counter or with a prescription?
It's over the counter.
At over the counter form, is it sometimes sold as a sleep aid and sometimes also sold as a allergy antihistamine?
Yes, ma'am.
What are common names that some of the jurors might know those to be?
For a sleep aid, you might see it in ZQuil or Unisom, or sometimes it's in combination with Tylenol to be like a pain reliever and sleep aid combo.
Now, when it's in a pain reliever combo, would you also see then potentially the acetaminophen, which would have been the pain reliever component?
Yes.
Did you see any of that in this case?
No, ma'am.
So the only item that you saw in the liver sample, the diphenhydramine, the Benadryl?
Yes.
And are you able to determine what's called a concentration?
Yes.
What does a concentration mean?
A concentration is an amount of substance that is present in the specimen.
Okay, so it's like how much is there compared to the rest of the sample?
Yes.
And in this case, did you determine a concentration?
I did.
Does the amount of the substance found impact the effect potentially on a person?
Yes.
So a higher concentration may have a more profound effect or less?
Correct. A higher concentration would have a more profound.
Okay. And what was the concentration in this case, if you know off the top of your head?
May I reference my report?
If not, I can just, I'll introduce it first. I'll make that easier. I'll withdraw. I'm going to show you 1.26 that I have marked. Do you recognize 1.26?
Yes, this is a copy of my report.
Okay. Do you recognize that to be your actual report?
Yes.
At this time, I'd like to tender 1.26.
Any objection? No objection.
All right, it's admitted.
Before I get ahead of myself, do you make reports in connection with the work that you do at the crime laboratory?
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you do that?
It's going to be an official document of our results.
Do these get reviewed for accreditation?
Yes, they do review our casework.
And do you also potentially use it to testify in court?
Yes.
How many samples do you think you've done in the last year?
Samples,
Yeah, how many cases do you think you've worked?
maybe 200?
Be fair to say this might help your recollection as well?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm now going to ask to publish this, Your Honor.
You may.
Thank you. That number that you were referring to, would that be marked up here in the top right corner of this official report?
Yes.
And would it also indicate at the end your signature here?
Yes.
And the result information that you secured in connection with this, that would be listed, is that correct?
Correct.
Is there in fact a concentration that you found of the diphenhydramine?
There is
Okay, and what was that?
2.9 milligrams per kilogram.
Can you tell us what that means?
It's difficult to say with a liver specimen. It's very limited in what you can say. Once again, a blood being our preferred source, since that's going to be what's actively circulating and going to be affecting your brain. Oftentimes in the field of toxicology, we have ranges that we refer to. So we have therapeutic, toxic, and lethal. Therapeutic would be what you would expect to see in the blood if someone is taking a drug as prescribed. Toxic is getting into more adverse effects, perhaps loss of consciousness, disorientation, things of that nature. Lethal is going to be what's consistent with an overdose or death. We have those levels for blood. We don't have those for liver specimens. In a research or clinical setting, you can administer a drug to somebody, draw blood, and draw correlations between doses and blood concentrations. With the liver, you can't do that. You can't give drugs to somebody and then just take a piece of the liver to analyze to make a correlation between. So it's difficult to say what this value is going to mean. What I can tell you is that in a study of 11 deaths that were attributed to diphenhydramine, the average liver concentration was 34 milligrams per kilogram. And this is nowhere near that. So you wouldn't expect this to be a lethal level.
Right. So can you also tell us what happens when a body is dead and it's potentially laid out? I believe you explained to me something about how there's redistribution. Can you explain that to the jury?
Yes, after death and blood is no longer circulating and the body just settles, drug concentrations can redistribute throughout the blood and tissues. So that could be affecting this level as well.
Now, given that this case involves a deceased and a dismemberment where the blood was not available, is that the best that you were able to do given what you had?
Yes, the medical examiner submitted what he had to get whatever kind of results to come up with his conclusion of cause of death.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross-examination, counsel.
Good morning, Ms. Gresham.
Good morning.
I'm Doug Weinstein, and I represent Mr. Kassotis in this case. Let me ask you some questions, because maybe I misheard. The state keeps saying the only thing available was the liver. Didn't you testify that the medical examiner drew spleen blood?
Yes, there were some other things that he had from the body. If it wasn't spleen blood, it might have been the actual spleen. I could have been misquoting there.
But you had said spleen blood, correct, earlier?
I said it earlier, yes.
What else did he draw from the body other than, that could have possibly been analyzed by you, other than the liver that was provided to you?
Well, there was the chest fluid, which he deemed unsuitable due to the fact that the chest cavity was open. There was kidney, there was gastric contents, there was muscle, there was brain, and there might have been other things, but I did note those in the case file when I was printing out my materials.
Okay, but you did not receive spleen blood from the medical examiner, correct?
No, those were never sent up to headquarters.
And I understand from your testimony, this figure you have of 2.9 milligrams per kilogram, because you don't have studies, as you said, that can administer and check blood, that the figure you get, 2.9 milligrams per kilogram for the liver, that really can't tell you much about the level of toxicity, correct?
Correct. I don't know what was actually circulating in blood at the time of death.
So this number is essentially meaningless for us trying to determine the effect of the diphenhydramine on Mrs. Kassotis, correct?
Objection to the word meaningless, Your Honor.
Let's try again. I'll withdraw it. Can you tell anything from that 2.9 milligrams per kilogram about the level of toxicity?
I can just say that diphenhydramine was consumed at some point.
But you don't know the level of toxicity of that, correct?
This doesn't represent a lethal level based on literature.
Or does it represent a toxic level?
It's nowhere near the 34 milligrams per kilogram, so I wouldn't think it would be toxic either.
If you would have had spleen blood and you would have analyzed spleen blood, could you have made a more definitive analysis of the effect of the diphenhydramine on Mrs. Kassotis?
Objection calls for speculation.
She's an expert.
She is an expert. All out.
Once again, I'm not sure if it was spleen blood or actually spleen that was taken from the decedent, but that wouldn't have.
All right, so their audio is driving me crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe try a different video so I don't have to listen to this because it's just hard to even follow when it's doing it as much as it is. So I'm gonna log off here. If I find a better one, I will turn back on my live and we'll be there. Otherwise, we're probably gonna start day 5 tomorrow just so we can watch what happens in real time. So wish me luck. Like I said, I'll be right back as long as I find a better one.